Hello, I am super excited for today's episode. I heard another podcaster talk on this exact same topic last week, and I thought it was such a good idea because I am a huge proponent of having a big overarching goal for your business and a big overarching goal for your personal life that you always can be striving toward and asking yourself, when you get presented with an opportunity, a decision to make, does this align with one of these two goals? If the answer is yes, then I should do it. And if the answer is no, maybe I don't need to do it right now. But I thought breaking that goal into 5 things that you're focusing on in your business for the next year also is a really awesome way to do this, because sometimes that one big goal can be so huge and overarching that you're like, okay, I don't even know where to get started on this. So I'm going to share the 5 things that I am focusing on in my business in 2024. So before I planned this out, and really sat down and thought about this was a really fun journal exercise just to kind of get everything out on paper. What would I love my business to look like by the end of 2024? What is my 3-year, 5-year plan for my business? And what do I get to work on? What are my kind of areas maybe of weakness, or areas that I just could improve even more, or areas that are already going well, and I know that if I pour more of my focus into them, it's really going to help my business run and explode this year and the coming up years. So in no particular order, here is what I'm focusing on. The first thing, and I've already started focusing on this because this took a lot of time and preparation on my end to do, is that I am hosting the Love Your Business Summit in February of this year. And so that obviously will not be something that I'm going to be focusing on the entire year because it is happening in February. But a lot of my January and beginning of February is going to be focused on just making this summit really freaking awesome. There are so many reasons to have a summit. I will definitely do a podcast episode, like a debrief once everything gets done, and let you know, like, here's how I planned it. Here's what worked. Here's what didn't work. Here's some hurdles that I came out along the way. Here's the results that I got from it. But in a nutshell, on the logistic end, everyone can sign up for free. So I will be sharing the sign up link super, super soon. Think maybe in about 3 weeks-ish, if you're listening to this live time. So like the end of January is when you'll be able to start signing up, and when we will start doing all the promotion for the summit. So you can sign up for free. It's a 3-day event, or you can upgrade to the VIP pass, which the VIP All Access Pass is going to get recordings, a ton of extra bonuses. That's all I'm going to say for now, because I don't want to give away any surprises, and stuff is still getting finalized for it. But the VIP pass does cost money. Super low ticket. But one of the goals of the summit for me is to get in front of more audiences. So I have 23 amazing speakers who are participating, and they're participating to share their value with you. But then we're basically sharing each other's audiences. So it's a really great way to grow our email list, grow our following, get visible in front of some new potential clients. And so I really want to focus on that, growing my email list, getting those VIP sales, and that intentional collaboration and networking piece of that with the women who are going to attend the summit. I have already done a lot of that collaboration and networking with the speakers of the summit, but I'm going to be making that even stronger by doing a series of Instagram lives, promoting these women, really giving them love so that hopefully they will want to participate in further collaborations with me, whether that's another summit, whether that's a program together, who knows, the opportunities are endless for collaboration. And that, and I'm really a huge fan of collaboration. So the Love Your Business Summit is my big goal, my big focus for this first part of 2024, making that a huge success, learning from that, and then possibly, if it goes well, making that a twice-a-year thing, whether it's the exact same theme or something different for the fall. But if I do decide to do that, I will be deciding that pretty soon after the summit is over, mid-February, because I started planning for this. I came up with let me think. I came up with the idea end of August, beginning of September, and I emailed out everyone I wanted to participate probably the end of September. So let's see, September to October, November, December, January, February, like 5 months. So if I want to have another one prior to the holiday season, I'm going to want to like start planning and organizing that, as soon as possible after the summit is over. And again, I'll debrief all the stuff behind the summit in case you want to do your own, but I really wanted that time frame to allow me time to organize it because I'm a one-woman show. No one is helping me do this. And so, could I make that runway even smaller if I had a VA or assistant or someone doing a bunch of this stuff for me? Absolutely. But because I am doing it all myself, for example, my speaker videos and everything have already been due to give me a month and a half to make sure that the tech is right, emails are written, copy is done, all of those sorts of things. So the number one thing for me for 2024 that I'm starting off with is that Love Your Business Summit focus. The next thing that I'm focusing on in my business is 2024 is the mastermind that I am in. So they just changed the name of it. What is it called now? The Aligned CEO Method. It was Platinum. My coaches are Kayla and Nicole from My Aligned Purpose. And so I just really want to make sure that one, I'm getting my money's worth, but two, that I am really utilizing all those tools and resources that they have provided for me. So I'm setting aside intentional time to show up at all the calls. And if I cannot be on the calls, because a lot of their calls are during the day when I'm still working my day job, making sure that I am blocking off time to watch all those replays. And ideally, I will be doing that maybe with another woman who's in my mastermind who isn't able to attend those calls live either, just for the accountability and so that we can talk through, because my coaches a lot of times do a lot of exercises where you kind of debrief with a partner or a small group. And so that's hard to do if you're not live. And so that gets to be on me too. So like, okay, it's not their fault that I can't show up live, right? It's my fault. So I need to make sure that I am putting myself in the position where I can get the absolute most out of that. Also, theirs has a business course, very much like my mastermind has access to my new business course. Theirs does as well. So I need to make sure that I'm going through those courses, doing all the steps because that's what I'm paying for. And I know that they have created what I am striving to create. So who better to take advice from and mentorship from? The other thing with that is that I have access to them via WhatsApp and I very rarely use it. And this year I need to be more intentional about using that because I am paying for that. They're there for me. And instead of trying to figure it out all on my own, I get to use my coaches. Okay, the next thing that I am focusing on very intentionally in my business for 2024 is my marketing. Marketing, I have had a plan-ish. I know how to teach it, but it is one of those things like do as I say and not as I do. I don't always have a very intentional marketing strategy. And I know that is one of the things that is holding me back. Because I have the knowledge, I have the expertise, I have, the amazing community built, but I just get to be in front of more eyes in a more strategic way. So I'm getting really serious on my marketing. And so the areas of my marketing that includes is Reels, videos, stories, and Pinterest. So those 4 things. And I'm going to share why those 4 things. One, we just know video, like we have heard it 1.5 million times. Video is the way that we can kind of close that gap between when people initially see us and when they start working with us, because they get to hear your personality, they get to see your expertise, they get to feel your vibe. Like you can totally feel my vibe if you're watching this through video right now, or even through the podcast, honestly, because you can hear me. You can feel my vibe and feel my energy, hopefully. And maybe not just from one video, but when you watch a series of them, you can totally get a vibe for like, yeah, I really mesh with this girl, or like, she's not really my jam. And that's what we want. Like we want the people that we mesh with, and we want to repel the people that we don't mesh with. And also, video doesn't freak me out. And I think a lot of people avoid video. I've never really been that girl. Maybe when I first got started, and not because it freaked me out, just because it felt uncomfortable because it was something new. And I just don't do it. Honestly, like there's a little part of me that's just lazy. There's a little part of me that at the end of the day, after I've been working all day, I don't feel like putting on a quote unquote show for other people. Although this isn't really a show, but I just kind of don't feel like talking. And or I want to go home and take my makeup off and put on scraggly clothes and not have to worry about, being presentable. So that's why it gets to be really intentional for me. And especially with reels, I can batch those out ahead of time. And I do that in the summer. And I have done that before in the summer. I've done that before, I guess when it's not even summer too. I just have to plan it. I just have to do it. Same thing with video. I use StreamYard. Right now I'm recording this on StreamYard. And the thing that I love about StreamYard is it makes it so easy to repurpose things. So I can download this video, or I can even stream it directly to YouTube, everywhere on Facebook, my groups, my personal profile. And now they just came out that they will also stream on Instagram Live. Like, dude, why am I not doing this? Right? So like, why am I not using this to its full potential? And doing more video. I do use StreamYard and I do stream to all those places, and I do download and, repurpose things and put them in my, put them on YouTube, but I don't necessarily, like, it has a feature where I can make reels from my videos. Why am I not doing that? So that's what I mean by I'm going to get really intentional on my marketing in 2024 and just see what kind of a difference it makes, because I have a feeling that it'll make a huge, huge difference. Thing number 4, intentional podcast planning, episodes and guests. So this is something that I have literally never done. I have never done this. I started this podcast in June 2020. I think it was June. Pretty sure it was June. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I started this podcast in 2020. So it's over 3 years old, 3.5, almost 4 years old. And I have never sat down and made like a podcast calendar of what my episodes are going to be about. And it's so funny because I follow other podcasts and I can immediately tell, like, okay, this girl's done 4 weeks of episodes on, the thing that I'm coming up with right now is launching, but that might be confusing because she's launching. 4 episodes on planning and the importance of planning. And she's had a guest on who talked about planning and blah, 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 planning. So I know in the back of my mind, just because I am in business, I am a marketer myself, that she's getting ready to launch something about planning. Maybe it's a new planner, maybe it's an accountability group. She's getting ready to do that. And I have never really sat down and been like, okay, I'm launching in February and August this year. So I'm going to have all my podcast episodes in January and February be about my mastermind, or be about why masterminds are important, or be about community, or whatever. I've never done that. And so a goal of mine is to sit down and kind of map that out while allowing myself flexibility, because one of the things that I love so much about creating the content for the podcast is that I'm able to take things that feel right to me in the moment to talk about and to share, or I see a lot of something coming up on social media or in my own business, or like this podcast. I heard someone else do a podcast about the 5 things that they're focusing on in their business. I was like, that's such a great idea. I want to talk about the 5 things that I'm focusing on. 1, because it holds me accountable. Like, there is so much of this podcast, or if you're watching this on YouTube, so much of, me sharing and me teaching that is not only helping you, but it's also benefiting me. Because had I not heard that podcast, had I not had the idea to sit down and do this episode, I never would have probably gotten out a piece of paper and really thought about the 5 things that I want to focus on in my business in 2024. I would have, I did the visioning exercise that my coaches did. I'm getting ready to lead a visioning exercise for my mastermind as well. I would have done those things, but neither of those things encompass the 5 things that I'm going to focus on in my business. So I learned so much myself, and I help my own business so much by doing these things. It's kind of like me processing and learning as I go. And so I really want to make sure that I have that flexibility and freedom to still do that while being a little bit more intentional with the content that I'm delivering on my podcast. So you can look forward to that in 2024. And then the very last thing is making a plan and promoting my Confident and Ambitious Mastermind and my Purpose to Profits Dream Business Academy intentionally. I did do what I would call a formal launch for my mastermind in July when it opened the doors for the first time. We had our first cohort come in, and I have mentioned it here and there. It's on the bottom of all my emails. It's the beginning of my podcast ads, different things like that. But I really this is going back to that intentional social media marketing, but not even on social media. So I'm thinking this year I'm going to try out ads. I want to be sure that I have weekly posts inviting women to join whichever one they are at in their business. So, if you're a baby business owner, you're not ready to make the commitment or the time or want the mentoring one-on-one yet, Purpose to Profits Dream Business Academy is for you. If you want that, but you also want the accountability and you want the other women in the mastermind cheering you on, giving you support, accountability, ideas, the mastermind's probably for you. So I want to make sure that I'm making, weekly posts talking about both of them in my stories, sharing more wins from my mastermind members because they're doing freaking amazing things. And to do that, I'm going to be planning twice a year launches, which for me is going to be a 4-week runway of launching. A lot of launch strategists say 6 to 8 weeks. I'm a projector. So we've talked about human design on here a lot. So if you're familiar with that, projectors, we don't really like things going on for that amount of time. We like, short, sweet, kind of to the point. And that's kind of how me and my personality run anyway. So I'm planning 4-week launches this year for 2024. We're going to play around with that, tweak it, see how it goes. But just really intentionally talking about and inviting people to those 2 signature programs of mine to make sure that I am giving them the support. Like, I am not doing people a service by holding back on these amazing offerings that I have. So, the business course comes with the mastermind. My mastermind women have already gotten started with it. And I know the value it has because they'll mention like, hey, I just did the Canvas module. And then I was able to put together my lead magnet or my freebie, and it was super helpful. And I'm like, great, that's the feedback that I was hoping to hear. Or my mastermind women will ask a question and I'm like, ooh, that would be something really great that I need to add to the business course. So the business course is always kind of evolving. But it's a whole different level hands-on experience when you combine that with the mastermind. So I just want to make sure that I'm talking about that. Just like I encourage you to make sure that you are talking about your offers and that people know how they can work with you and get in your energy and support you. I think you'll be surprised the people who honestly don't know or who knew, but they have forgotten because they haven't heard your stuff recently. So, I like to keep things short and sweet. That's the 5 things I'm focusing on in my business in 2024. I would love to encourage you to, this didn't honestly take me very long. I thought it would, or I thought I would have a hard time narrowing it down to 5 things, but take 5-10 minutes and sit down and think about your own business and what 5 areas you would really like to focus on in 2024. And feel free to steal mine too, because I'm sharing them. You taking mine is not going to affect me or my business in any way. And I am happy to mentor you in that way. So if you want to work together in 2024, you know the drill. You just heard about it. There are 2 ways you can work with me. If you want that one-on-one support and that small group, high level support in your business this year, I invite you to join Confident and Ambitious Mastermind. Details about that are in the show notes. You can click the link or feel free to send me a DM or an email for sure. I'd love to talk to you about it and help you kind of decide if that is the right fit. And if not, maybe the Purpose to Profits Dream Business Academy is what you need right now. It's what you need. It can fill in the gaps with the holes that you have in your business, or if you're just starting out, or maybe you just have an idea for something and you're doing something else and you want to start something else from scratch, but you want to make sure you're doing it the right way. I really encourage you to get in the Dream Business Academy and play around in there and see what you can build this year, because I don't know about you, but I am freaking excited for 2024. So take care, and I will talk to you so soon.